Wow, gee whiz! Sure has been a long time since I've made a YouTube video, and I'm actually getting fairly decent views all of a sudden. If only there was something I could make a video on.
Move the camera up!
Oh my god!
You suck!
Yes! It is a VHS VCR made by our good friends at Mitsubishi. Yes, the one that makes cars. So, story behind this one. As some of you may know, I had a silver Magnavox DVD VCR combo up where this space currently is being occupied by this thing. And it broke because the modern types of VHS, VCR, DVD combo unit thingies don't generally have the best of build quality. I've gone through quite a few over the past 10 years or so. So, as a result, I decided, screw the DVD player. I don't really watch DVDs anyway. Most of my movie watching habits are online, more or less. But basically, I went to this Christian-owned thrift store called Jubilee Ministries. It's a local thing. And I got this! Mitsubishi VHS VCR. So, without further ado, let's take a look at it. As you can see, the shining Mitsubishi emblem with a little Triforce just to show how Japanese they really are. And for the inevitable person who's gonna say, that's not a Triforce! It's a joke. Chill. We've got power, eject, we've got stuffs that we can read, and actually quite impressive stuffs. It's got a 19 micron head, which is pretty impressive for most VCRs. Means it has quite impressive quality. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of like digital enhancing, because right around the time of DVDs, that's when they really started to improve the quality of VCRs in order to kind of attempt to compete for as long as they possibly could. We have auto clock set, which is useful because that means you don't have to do it yourself. 250 time rewind fast forward. That is very impressive. If you remember from back in the day how much of a pain in the butt it was to actually rewind a tape, this does it actually quite quickly, as you will see in a moment. And finally, we have auto speed program, which I believe is for recording a tape, but I've never actually attempted on this VCR, so I wouldn't know. My guess is that it auto detects what kind of tape you have and how long your program is set to record for, and it takes the speed automatically. So that is quite impressive, actually. Very impressive VCR, especially for the time period. I would say not too bad on the features even now for what it really is. We've got power, eject, we've got stereo AV. That's quite impressive. Most high-end VCRs kind of have that, though. We have the display settings, which is useful if you want to change the settings on the display. We've got channel up and down. We've got record. We've got the pause button. Even though this has... yeah, this has a... oh, never mind. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say that has a pause symbol, but no, it's just a regular play symbol. Just rather strange one. We have rewind, fast forward, and on the back, you won't be able to see because that'll involve me having to fiddle around with cables and such. We have coaxial in and out, and we also have another AV out and AV in. Another AV in and AV out. I get those two confused sometimes. So, without further ado, let's put this in. This is a very unique and interesting tape. I have not found this exact footage online. This is a recording from the Gulf War, and it is ABC World News, I believe. Actually, no. I think it must be CNN, because it kind of has that sort of 24-hour news cycle type of coverage, rather than just listing off a bunch of events. This seems to focus more on Operation Desert Storm as a whole. And yes, this is news coverage of Operation Desert Storm from 1989. So, let's go.
Several others scattered around.
And as you can see, the picture quality is quite impressive for what it really is.
Pretty close to being on target, I believe. Combat.
It's a little soft. I mean, you can't really work miracles, but definitely the best quality I've ever seen VHS look. If we can kind of look, you can see around the eyes, it's fairly clear for what VHS usually is. It's usually a little bit more blurry.
Within the last week or so. So the air deployment has been completed now for.
If anyone actually is willing to strike a deal with me to like take this to DVD, I would be happy to do that. I've wanted to do it for a very long time, but unfortunately I have not been able to do so.
Initially got General Dugan of the Air Force in trouble for revealing those plans. Others have speculated about it as well. That clearly is
So, as you can see here, we can stop the tape by pushing the same button as the play button, which makes sense, I suppose. Most VCRs don't usually do that, but you can figure it out. You've got a pause button. Fairly decent, actually, pausing system. Doesn't have, like, kind of the jitteriness of most VCRs, I would have said. And, again, just look at that picture. It's very impressive for what VHS is. Obviously, you can see there's scan lines and things like that, but otherwise, very highly impressive. We can play and go again. Now, here's where it gets very interesting. So, fast forward, that's all normal. If you hold down fast forward, it actually does a very impressive sequence search. Basically, it moves the tape rather quickly, so you can see where you want to go rather quickly. Most tapes do this in record mode, but typically if you take the tab out of most VCRs, it only lets you fast forward one time. This lets you do it twice on any tape, whether it's pre-recorded or you recorded it yourself. More impressive, actually, if we stop and we push fast forward, is that it does a very, very fast, 250 times, mind you, high-speed fast forward. And you can see just by the digital display and an on-screen display on here how fast it's really going. That's the start of the tape, that's the end of the tape. It's already about a quarter of the way, and this is, I mean, typical 6-hour tape that you buy at Radio Shack or Walmart or wherever this was bought back in the day. So, let's stop this. And, again, very fast rewind. In fact, let me actually take the tape out just so I can show you how much it's actually gone forward just in the last 10 seconds or so. Again, very impressive. It's rewound like considerably more than half the tape already. And rewinding equally as fast. Doesn't sound very good, but, you know, whatever. I assume that's probably a problem with the tape. So, that is very, 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 very impressive. Have I said that enough? I have not said that enough. Very, very impressive for VCR like this. So I've actually shown a couple VCRs. I've shown a VCR that actually talks through the menu. And that was probably the most impressive VCR I've ever seen on a gimmick level. This is the most impressive VCR I've ever seen on an actually practical level. So, there you go. It's almost at the beginning of the tape. Yeah, listen to those sounds. There we go. That's the sound of high-tech Japanese machinery. So, there ye be. That is the Mitsubishi VHS VCR. Bye, y'all.